we're glad to know that you are with us. My name is Samboso Musavi. This is Nigeria Now on Equa Television International. And with me, I have Joyce Jakada.
As always, a pleasant afternoon to you, Samboso.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Looking great.
Well, you look good as well.
Thank you. Well, do well to join us on this conversation. Today we are going to look into the selection of the 10th National Assembly principal officers. Please just contribute in what we are discussing, whether you are residing here in Nigeria or you are in diaspora, because it's all about our country, Nigeria. That is what we are discussing. You know, the 10th National Assembly, you know, from the election of the members, the representative to the National Assembly. After the election, you know, some people were declared winners of the election from a different party, cut across, you know, the 36 states of the country, included in the federal capital, Abuja. And then after that, you know, before the inauguration, we saw how people are crisscrossing, you know, people are using slogans and then looking to the direction of the leadership of the House, because, you know, after the election, yes, after swearing in, definitely some people would take charge to control the Senate and then the House of Representatives. So far, so good. You know, we saw how some people form clique, kicking against some people that they feel, you know, the government or the party is pushing against others. You know, they feel is not an open, more like an open door policy or free hand, so to say, to them, you know, to elect whoever they feel they want them to take the leadership. And then at the end of the day, we saw those same people, you know, that the party were pushing, particularly coming from the candidate, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. At the end, they emerged the winner. And then after then, we begin to see how the eights were being selected. We see how people have been talking about, you know, some people feel they are not carried alone, and so on and so forth. And then yesterday we talked about the issue of the minority leader, the whip, and other principal officers. So far, there are some names that are out there. What's your take on this generally?
Well, the battle for the seat of the Senate as well as membership of the House of Representatives is one that was keenly fought at the 2023 general election. You agree with me, because we saw how that people really worked hard to return. We saw how that just at the Senate, barely 30, about 30 returned. A lot more were just returned back home, if you allow me, because the election came at a time that Nigerians were more aware than ever before. It came at a time where people were given the confidence, were given hope with the introduction of the technology in the election process. People had hope that, and then at the point where people were even tired of having members or senators that representing them and doing nothing. So people felt, oh, this is an opportunity for us, either vote you out or vote you in. And the 10th National Assembly, as the Senate President Godswill Akpabio referred to it as the uncommon. Indeed, is uncommon because it has a mixture of almost all the political parties in it. It is one of the National Assembly that you can see that the party that is leading, I mean, having the president is more like the minority, because put together the main opposition party, PDP, and then the other parties, they produce more members. And that you can liken to the people being more aware. And what next? The battle for positions, tussle for leadership at the 10th Assembly. We saw how people were going back and forth, trying to buy their way through, but at the end, decisions were made, and we saw the emergence of the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and then Tajuddin Abbas as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And it didn't end there, because of course some key principal officers need to also be selected so that they could oversee some of the run-ins and then affairs of the National Assembly, and this is one of which people have been expecting. Majority leaders, minority leaders, the whip and then other officers. And recall yesterday we began the conversation how that the main opposition party PDP were saying that they are rejecting any list that might come is fraudulent. They are not part of it because they are still consulting. Having heard rumors of a list, they call it concocted list by the main by the ruling party. They will not accept it. And just yesterday, the Senate president, talking about Godswill Akpabio, announced that the Senate majority leader being Senator Opeyemi Bamidele. He also announced Senator Simon Davo Madcon of Plateau State, of course, PDP Plateau North, as the Senate minority leader, and Senator Darlington Nwokocha LP, Abia Central, as minority whip. Akpabio equally read the names of Senator Oye Bumi Kamorudin Olarere, PDP Osun West, as deputy minority leader, and Senator Rufai Hanga NPP Kano Central as deputy minority whip. And all the announcement of the principal officers of the minority parties showed that old senators such as Aminu Tambuwal of PDP Sokoto South and Syria K. Dixon PDP Bayelsa West, Abdul Ningi PDP Bauchi Central, Adamu Aliero PDP Kebbi Central all lost out in the political game and intrigues. And then prior to the announcement, we saw how that Akpabio and had entered the Halo chamber at about 11:18 a.m. and had some closed door meetings. And a lot of reactions trailed this announcement. While some people were jubilating, we saw how that even the APC, the ruling APC, headed by the national chairman Abdullahi Adamu, rejecting that list, saying that they didn't like authenticate the list and all of that. They were not consulted, and APC as well as the governorship forum of the APC having continuously or over the time give their own advice to the National Assembly as saying that no, they are not in support of what happened. They are really backing and standing by their party. PDP also reacted to that, saying that they will not, they are not in support of that list, even though we see that some members, the membership or the principal officers that were selected cut across party. There's representation from LP, NNPP, PDP, APC, and even LP. And one thing that stood out for me, of course, I think almost throughout the selection of election of some of the principal officers, of course, people will always react. Even the general elections, from inception, people always tell you, oh, this is fraudulent, this is not the representation of the people and all. They have the right to whatever they feel, especially when things are not done right. We saw how that one of the members stood up yesterday talking about Garuba, saying that he was not even aware of all of that, more like it's saw some carcos that sat down and came up with the list. Yesterday, PDP were talking about some members lobbying their way to be actually selected and all of that. But I said something yesterday. I hope that the members will not forget their primary assignment, because it looks like, oh, the National Assembly, the 10th Assembly is just all about leadership, who wants to be who, everybody lobbying his way into leadership position. We kept emphasizing that the process that brings people to power must be excellent if we are expecting excellence in terms of performance and delivery from these people. If the system or the process that brings people is not excellent, it is just covered with some irregularities, then you won't expect anything better from them, because of course if somebody pays his way into something, he's going to boast that I bought my way, and it is what he wants to do that he would do. But when you know that you are entrusted with this, it's more like trust. You wouldn't want to just give it away. You want to deliver. Oh, so these people can see me and say, oh, I should do this, so why not I should just represent them well. But in all of that, after the whole selection, in a remarks by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, he was urging the senators to actually focus on what brought them to the National Assembly. He added that the challenges that is currently facing the country must be addressed, and that is why the senators, members of House of Representatives are actually there. Nigeria is faced with challenges. As we speak right now, there are some schools that are on strike, government schools that are on strike. We just, in the news this morning, we saw how that the pregnant woman died in Nasarawa State because of the issue of strike. She was unattended to. As we speak, the issue of insecurity is still bedeviling us. We are faced with it. These are all issues that need. The economy is really dealing with people. People are not finding it easy, and these are all issues that need to be looked into. Palliatives that Nigerians were promised in 8-week time to await what is going to come out of all the committees and meetings. So far, there's nothing that is on ground to cushion the event. I was wondering if we're actually waiting for people to get used to it so that we'll do nothing about it as a country. So there are a lot of issues, Sambo Solomon, and I like the fact that the Senate President emphasized that senators, leaders need to focus on their primary responsibility, which is addressing the challenges that is facing the country. He stressed the need for stability in the country by working in synergy with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led federal government. And of course, these people come together and work. Then without synergy, it's going to be difficult for them to achieve anything, to achieve result. So I think that call is very timely. This is time beyond differences. Already people are saying, oh, I didn't get text that people, there's going to be selection or anything. This was not done in our favor. We were not aware on all of that. Let's not forget the primary reason why we know that all these key position, of course, it definitely has to be occupied. There are committees that need to be said, but the conversation is more like about who to occupy what position. No, this is what I want to get. I should get this. This person is my fellow, is my loyalist. Already we're seeing the paper how some people are saying, oh, Wike's camp won against Atiku's camp, talking about Tambuwal and the emergence of Simon Matcon. But whatever the case is, like the Senate President is saying, I think the focus now it should be about dealing with the challenges that are bedeviling the country. And the senator also noted that the senators must work together and put the interests of the citizens above primordial interests. And I think this is the emphasis that we've been laying like for some time now. It should be about the interests of the citizens, not about some primordial interests. Oh, because I didn't get this position, then I wouldn't work for you, or I wouldn't work in the interest of Nigeria. The Senate President also noted the issue of oversight remains, and he talked about some cardinal assignment of the Senate, and he said they must pursue it vigorously to achieve the renewed hope of the government. But reacting to it, like I said, one of the senator, Garuba Musa, PDP Kebbi South, said he was never informed of the selection of principal officers, saying nobody called him, informed him, or even texted him. But right now, what has been done has been done. We are not supporting irregularities or illegal process or all of that. But I think this is a call to the senators, to the members of the House of Representatives, to the 10th National Assembly to look at the interests of Nigerians, to focus on issues that are faced, like the current challenges that Nigerians are facing, and to do something about it as quick as possible. And any primordial interest should be set aside.
I was so impressed when I hear him, the Senate President, drawing their attention concerning the primary responsibility, why they were being elected, why their people chose them as representative to represent them there. And the National Assembly is one of the arm of the government, and we keep saying that. You remember yesterday we talked about how the three arm of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and then the judiciary should come together, harmonize. Let's see that synergy. Let's see that unity of purpose, that they will rally around, the presidency, and then see whatever policy that the federal government will bring that will benefit the masses, that they will rally around it and see that that purpose is being achieved. And then that almost everything that had to do with the welfare of people, it comes from the Senate, because they are the ones, whatever it is, it has to come to them, and then they scrutinize it and see how friendly it is, how sustainable it is, and then they go through it, they debate it, and then they pass it, and then from there, that is when you see the implementation. So by the time we just narrow ourselves to just the interests of position, simply because I have done this to the party, I need to be rewarded, I'm your loyal follower. I did this for you to emerge, so I need this office to occupy. I think we should grow above that. We should look at national interest, and we should look at capacity also. It is very key. It's very important. Yes, we did this together, and then we succeed. But the next assignment, who do we think we can trust with this particular office, and we know he can deliver? And at the end of the day, all of us as 10th Assembly, will win the battle. That's just the idea. And I think it is very important that they should know that their primary responsibility is to legislate, and then not just legislate, but they should legislate well. Legislating well, that is when you will scrutinize everything that comes from the executive, not just being a rubber stamp. You remember before now, people are thinking, how is the leadership going to be? Is it going to be like the 8th and the 9th Assembly, that particularly the 9th Assembly, that people saw it to be like is just a rubber stamp kind of a 9th Assembly, that everything that comes from the executive is yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. And then when things are going wrong, we don't see them following it up, talking about it, rejecting it, and the rest. And most people feel disappointed because they feel they wanted to see that check and balance coming from them. If you said we approve this for this to be done and it's not done, then it's their responsibility to check and to question whoever, and to make committee, make inquiry, and whoever they found wanting, send him to court, and then court will now decide and see if this person wanting, in the area of his assignment, then what does the law says, and then from there, you see that the three arm of government will be working together. But we saw less of that, and then we are praying and hoping that this 10th Assembly will not going to be like the previous one.
Sambo Solomon, the time to work is now, and I think this is the time that the 10th Assembly should focus on the business of the day. And I want to call on Nigerians to actually get involved with this 10th National Assembly. We've always left the work for members that are representing us, and not knowing that every decision that they take is like they are representing us, because we cannot all be at the 10th Assembly. We cannot all be at the National Assembly. That is why we are practicing the representative system. And because these people are standing there on my behalf, I should be involved in what is happening there. How can you do it? You need to always hold these people accountable. Their plenary are being streamed. How many of us know who is even representing us at the senatorial level or House of Representatives? Follow the plenary and see what is happening there. What is their contribution? Yeah. Are they among the members that are always sleeping, and whenever it is nay or yay, that's just when they respond? Or they are among those members that are up and about in terms of trying to bring development to their own constituency, bringing about issues that borders their members or their constituency there, to ensure that decisions are being taken that is going to impact on them. On the about the 9th Assembly, we saw how some of these officials were actually up and about. They brought a lot of things in terms of development to their constituency, while others were busy sleeping. So I think it's very important that all Nigerians, we all participate in this 10th Assembly, and we can do it when these programs are being streamed. You see people participating, you can comment, and your member can see what you are saying. Your senator, the member of the House of Representatives can see your comments, and they can take it on. So we should not just be at our own constituency and be wallowing in pain and be complaining and then all of that we should get involved. Let's involve these people, indulge them, communicate with them, see what they are doing about the things you're saying. In the next 4 years, they're going to be having another election. When they don't perform, vote them out, so that we don't keep moving on this same circle of, this person is not doing anything, he just did road from the junction to his house, and that is all. You have the power to recall these people, rate them, rate their performances, reduce your expectation in terms of even going with envelope, inviting them left, right, and center. Hold them accountable by what they are supposed to do in the constituency.
INEC to prosecute 2023 electoral offenders.
Sambo Solomon, you recall that when we discussed about the EU EOM report on the 2023 general election that was rejected by the APC administration when its special advisor to the president on communication strategy, special duties, talking about Dili Alaki, came out to point out that no, that report was biased, that report was just one-sided and all of that. And he said the EU has no right to actually come out and say whatever it's saying. And we saw how a lot of Nigerians reacted to that. How can you condemn what the EU are saying? Because these are things that Nigerians actually even talked about during the 2023 general election. The irregularities, operational failures, how that some people committed some electoral offense and they went away with it. We didn't see any form of prosecution. They actually gave about 6 recommendations how that the media practitioners should be protected, how that Nigerians, all citizens should be involved even in the selection of officials of the INEC, how that results should be transmitted in real time, and then citizens should have access to it, how that they should deal with the issue of discrimination against women and also handling the case of electoral offenses, not letting the people go away with it, but they should be prosecuted. And in line with that, INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, is saying that they have received about 215 case files from the Nigerian police in respect to electoral infractions during the 2023 general election. And then INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, on Tuesday during a meeting with the state electoral commissioners, the RECs, resident electoral commissioners, after having meeting to review the general election, said that they actually received that 215 cases filed by the Nigerian police. And then he said that the commission is actually working with the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, and that is to help prosecute electoral offenders. And he added that NBA has provided 427 lawyers to help prosecute the cases and for free. And the commissioner accordingly said that the commission is working like I said, with NBA, and all this is just to prosecute those electoral offenders. He also added that the commission has actually received police reports as regard the suspended resident electoral commissioner in Adamawa State, talking about Rec Yunus Ari, and it says that INEC will soon take appropriate action on him. And that is what Nigerians have been talking about. That is what we've been saying. If electoral offenders are actually prosecuted, then it will be unattractive for any other person to want to tour that part. But by the time people commit offense and they get away with it, then of course next time you see more people touring that part, because at the end of the, oh, we saw Mr. A doing it, what happened to him? Nothing. So elections are critical. They are not things that we should take for granted. It matters in terms of national development, in terms of national interest. So when we see people going against guidelines, going against the acts, they should be dealt with. And I don't think this case should linger like we've seen in other cases. When it comes to prosecution, you see us going back and forth, dragging cases. It takes months, years, and at the end of the day, you don't hear anything. These cases just die natural death. If we continue in that circle, then this business of bridging electoral guidelines is going to be attractive to so many other people. No wonder somebody can just be given 5,000 naira to say, oh, go and disrupt this process, go and cause chaos, so that at the end of the day, the election can be cancelled, go and snatch ballots and all that. And we saw that even during the 2023 election in Lagos, people were intimidated. People were not allowed to go and vote. Like, this is their fundamental right, but they were not allowed to do that. And most of these people went away with it. And so, but based on the police report, like, if by my own judgment, the cases should even be more than 215, going by what we saw. Some people went live even on social media, but well, I'm sure they have investigated based on the crimes allotted and all of that. But beyond saying we have 215 cases submitted to us by Nigerian police, INEC should be deliberate about prosecuting these people so that we don't have a repeat. And I hope it is the right people that at the end of the day we are going to be prosecuting, so that people that really committed the offense will not get away with it and just some passerbys are going to be facing this. Because we've seen that in several cases. Robbery will happen in a particular area. Those people will just go away with it, and just a passerby, because of your hairstyle, you will just be dragged into the police van. At the end of the day, you are the one that will be paraded as the crime, as the criminal. So let's ensure ensure that those people that are being the names are being submitted are really the offenders. And then if they are the ones that went against the law, we want to see action being taken against them, so that next time we won't be talking about 215 cases, but we might be talking about, less or none. Let's make this unattractive to people by really punishing them in accordance with the law.
Well, I agree with you. And I think when you talk about electoral offenders, yes, they are in degrees. We know the normal talks that we have that will just come, kick ballot paper here and there, and then beat people.
And Sambo Solomon, what the rec in Adamawa State, Yunusa Ari did is unacceptable, and I think he should be used as an example,
yes.
So that next time we'll not be having. Imagine if a rec can do that. What happens to other officials that were in the field? So we need to make this kind of offenses unattractive by dealing with the offenders and not just calling names and saying, we're going to do something about it, but it should be done in real time.
And Joyce, some of these things, you will see it like it's just something that someone just thought about it there and then, and he acted. And some of these things are been mastermind, are been scripted. So the reason why I'm saying that, there are some people that are staying in some offices, but they are masterminding how things should go, and I feel the security should go beyond just people you
prosecute, but they are sponsors.
They are sponsors too, and then even the politicians. I think that there should be, a kind of when you are involved, then if you are being declared a winner, something should be done with your seat as well. I believe we are growing, and we will get to that now that Nigerians are more enlightened, and then Nigerians are getting involved, in the issue of governance, who governs them and how. It is very key, because that's the only way we can develop this country. Joyce, thank you so much for doing this with me today.
My pleasure, always.
Yeah. And viewer, there we thank you so much for allowing us into your sitting room. Let's do this together tomorrow, same time, same station. Bye-bye, and God bless you.